Welcome to Truly Bizarre, where we explore some of the most intriguing unsolved mysteries in history. Today, we're diving into 3 cases that have captivated the public for decades. These cases have stumped investigators and left the public with more questions than answers. So hang on to your seats as we unravel these bizarre cases. Signed by a killer. In the late 1970s, the quiet town of Circleville, Ohio, was shaken by an anonymous letter-writing campaign. Letters with names like the Woodsman and the Watcher began appearing in mailboxes all over town. In some cases, there was no return address. In others, notes were sent from addresses that didn't exist. Even more mysterious were the accusations being thrown around. Some letters claimed infidelity or even bribery. Who was sending these letters and what did they want? It was a mystery, one that inspired our podcast episode. This story is about the Circleville Letters mystery and why it stunned the entire town of Circleville for years to come. The mysterious saga of the Circleville Letters began in 1976 when Mary Gillespie, a school bus driver living in Circleville, Ohio, started receiving bizarre and menacing letters. These anonymous notes were addressed exclusively to her and contained accusations about her personal life as well as threats to her well-being. As the letters continued to roll in, they escalated in their level of aggression and even began mentioning members of Gillespie's family, such as her husband Ron, who was a local businessman. Initially, the community believed that it was a hoax, but then evidence emerged that someone had been stalking Mary on a daily basis since she began receiving the unsettling correspondences. What followed eventually became known as the Circleville Letter Mystery, a compelling case that has begged more questions than answers for almost 4 decades now. Thousands of attempts to find out who was sending them failed. Some suggested links to a prominent local businessman, and others speculated it was a family conspiracy, but nobody could ever prove who was behind this campaign for vengeance. Some say the undeniable feeling of dread inspired by letters makes them believe the Circleville writer must have been someone with intimate knowledge of their town. Despite the handiwork of many investigators and experts, we are no closer to finding out who the Circleville writer really was. Little did the residents of Circleville, Ohio, know when the first eerie letter arrived in 1976 that it was just the beginning of a 7-year mystery. Over 200 letters were received from the mysterious writer, many of which contained vicious comments directed at prominent members of the community. The strangeness didn't end there, however. After a few years had gone by, Mary Gillespie was found murdered on a rural road, and her husband Ron was subsequently convicted of the murder. Some speculate this was due to the letter writer's threat before Mary's death, an eye for an eye. Whether or not Sheriff Radcliffe knew something that wasn't uncovered during his investigation remains unknown, but what we do know is that he resigned shortly after Mary's murder. To this day, no one knows who sent those cryptic letters, making them one of America's most baffling unsolved mysteries, the Circleville Letters mystery. Don't look up in Brooklyn. On November 30, 1989, a group of witnesses in Brooklyn, New York, experienced something truly extraordinary. They saw a UFO hovering over the Brooklyn Bridge and witnessed the abduction of Linda Cortile, a housewife, who was taken from her 12th floor apartment window by beings from the UFO. This event was known as the Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction case, and it quickly became one of the most studied and debated cases in the history of UFO research. According to witnesses, the UFO appeared around 3:00 a.m. and was described as a large, triangular-shaped craft with lights on each corner. Linda Cortile, her husband, and a friend were all present at the scene and reported that the craft hovered directly over the Brooklyn Bridge for several minutes before moving away. Suddenly, Linda was pulled out of her window by a beam of light and taken into the craft. Her husband and friend watched in stunned silence as the craft disappeared into the night sky. The Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction case is significant because it is one of the few cases in which multiple witnesses reported seeing a UFO and the abduction of a person. The incident was investigated by renowned UFO researcher Bud Hopkins, who used hypnosis and other techniques to uncover details of the abduction from the witnesses. Despite the controversy and skepticism surrounding the case, it remains one of the most well-known and studied UFO abduction cases in history. Bud Hopkins, a prominent UFO researcher and author, was contacted by the witnesses to investigate the incident. He used hypnosis and other techniques to uncover details of the abduction from the witnesses, and he also analyzed physical evidence, such as photographs and witness sketches of the UFO. It was later revealed that a CIA agent was also present at the scene and had observed the UFO and the abduction. This added to the credibility of the case, as it meant that the incident had been witnessed by multiple credible individuals. The eyewitness accounts of the incident were detailed and consistent, despite the fact that they were given by different individuals. This added to the credibility of the case and helped to support the conclusion that the incident was a real event and not a hoax or a misidentification. The incident had a profound impact on Linda Cortile. She experienced a range of emotions, from fear and confusion to a sense of connection to the beings that had abducted her. She also reported experiencing physical and emotional effects from the abduction, such as headaches and a heightened sense of awareness. The Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction case had a significant impact on public opinion. The incident was widely reported in the media and quickly became one of the most well-known UFO abduction cases in history. This led to increased public interest and awareness of the UFO phenomenon and the possibility of alien abductions. However, it also led to a great deal of skepticism and criticism from those who believed the incident was a hoax or a misidentification. The Brooklyn Bridge UFO abduction case had a significant impact on UFO research. The investigation conducted by Bud Hopkins was one of the most thorough and well-documented in the field of UFO research, and it helped to establish the credibility of the incident. The case also played a major role in shaping public perceptions of UFOs and alien abductions, and it remains one of the most studied and debated cases in the history of UFO research. Mind control and time travel. The Montauk Project is a mysterious and highly controversial topic that has been shrouded in secrecy for decades. The project is said to have been conducted at the Montauk Air Force Base on Long Island, New York, and is rumored to have involved everything from mind control and time travel to UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Despite the lack of concrete evidence to support these claims, the Montauk Project continues to captivate the imagination of conspiracy theorists, researchers, and the general public. The origins of the Montauk Project can be traced back to the late 1970s and early 1980s when a man named Al Bielek began speaking publicly about his supposed involvement in the project. Bielek claimed that he had been a part of a secret government program that had been conducting experiments on time travel, mind control, and other advanced technologies. He also claimed to have memories of being involved in the Philadelphia experiment, a similar program that had taken place in the 1940s. Bielek's claims were met with skepticism from many in the scientific and academic communities, who dismissed them as nothing more than the ravings of a lunatic. However, many others were intrigued by his stories and began to investigate the Montauk Project for themselves. One of the most vocal supporters of the Montauk Project was Peter Moon, an author and researcher who had become interested in the topic after reading about it in a book by John A. Keel. In his book, The Montauk Project: Experiment in Time, Moon presents a detailed and well-researched account of the project, drawing on interviews with witnesses and participants, as well as an analysis of government documents and other primary sources. Despite the efforts of Moon and other researchers, the Montauk Project remains shrouded in mystery. Many of the key players in the project have passed away or have refused to speak publicly about it, and there is little concrete evidence to support the claims that have been made about the project. However, the Montauk Project continues to captivate the imagination of the public, and it has become one of the most well-known and controversial conspiracy theories in recent history. Whether or not the project ever really existed, it remains an enduring mystery that continues to be studied and debated by researchers, conspiracy theorists, and the general public. One of the most intriguing and contentious aspects of the Montauk Project is the alleged involvement of extraterrestrial life. According to some claims, the project was not just a government program, but a joint operation between the government and extraterrestrial beings. Some have even suggested that the Montauk Air Force Base was used as a landing and research site for UFOs, and that the project involved working with these advanced alien technologies. Critics of the Montauk Project have pointed out that there is no concrete evidence to support these claims, and that the majority of the information about the project comes from the controversial and unreliable accounts of Al Bielek and other self-proclaimed participants. The U.S. government has also denied any involvement in such a program, stating that there is no evidence to support these claims. However, there are also those who believe that the Montauk Project was a real event and that the government has covered it up to keep the truth from the public. They argue that the lack of concrete evidence is a result of the government's efforts to keep the project secret, and that the accounts of the witnesses are credible. Despite the ongoing debate and lack of concrete evidence, the Montauk Project continues to be a topic of interest and intrigue. It has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and internet forums, and it continues to be studied and debated by researchers, conspiracy theorists, and the general public. The possibility of a secret government program that involves advanced technology and extraterrestrial life is a fascinating and captivating topic that will likely continue to be explored in the future. Another aspect of the Montauk Project that has gained attention is the alleged use of mind control techniques and psychic abilities. According to some accounts, the project involved the use of advanced psychological techniques to manipulate the minds of the participants, as well as the use of psychic abilities to control time and space. Critics of the Montauk Project have argued that these claims are highly unlikely and unsupported by scientific evidence. They argue that the human mind and psychic abilities are not advanced enough to accomplish such tasks, and that these claims are nothing more than science fiction. However, proponents of the Montauk Project argue that the government has access to advanced technologies and information that the general public is not aware of. They argue that the government has the capability to conduct such experiments and that the lack of concrete evidence is a result of the government's efforts to keep the project secret. Despite the ongoing debate and lack of concrete evidence, the Montauk Project remains a topic of interest and intrigue. Many believe that the government has the capability to conduct such experiments and that the lack of concrete evidence is a result of the government's efforts to keep the project secret. The possibilities of advanced technology, mind control, and psychic abilities are fascinating and captivating topics that will likely continue to be explored in the future. In recent years, the Montauk Project has also been linked to other mysterious and unexplained events. Some researchers have suggested that the project may have been connected to other mysterious projects, such as the Philadelphia experiment and the Mothman prophecies. The similarities between these events have led some to believe that they may have been connected or even related. Some have also linked the Montauk Project to other mysterious occurrences, such as the Tunguska event, the Roswell incident, and the Rendlesham Forest incident. The similarities in these events have led some to believe that they may have been connected to the Montauk Project or that they are related in some other way. The Montauk Project is also linked to the phenomenon of time loops, where people are stuck in an event that is repeating itself. The project is said to have been experimenting with time travel, and some believe that the project's experiments may have caused a time loop. The concept of time loops is a popular topic in science fiction, and some believe that the Montauk Project is an example of science fiction becoming reality. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the Montauk Project remains a topic of interest and intrigue. The Montauk Project is a mysterious and highly controversial topic that has been shrouded in secrecy for decades. The project is said to have been conducted at the Montauk Air Force Base on Long Island, New York, and is rumored to have involved everything from mind control, time travel, UFOs, and extraterrestrial life. The Montauk Project is a fascinating topic that will likely continue to be explored and debated in the future. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening to Truly Bizarre. Subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. Join us next time as we dive into more bizarre cases and stories.